The house felt calm the morning Laura packed her suitcase. Sunlight came through the kitchen window, and the coffee maker hummed like it always did. Nothing looked broken. Nothing sounded wrong. Yet Emma stood by the counter with a strange pressure in her chest, as if something important was about to slip away. Laura moved with purpose, folding clothes, checking lists, smiling the way she did when she tried to hide how tired she was. She worked long hours as a nurse, and this conference in Seattle mattered to her. It was a chance to grow, to breathe, to feel proud of herself. Michael kissed her cheek and told her not to worry about home. He said everything would be fine. Emma watched them closely. Her parents had been married for almost 30 years. They did not fight loudly. They did not show much passion either. Their love was quiet, routine, safe. Or at least, that was what Emma had always believed. Laura hugged Emma tightly before leaving. "Call me if you need anything," she said, "and take care of your father." Emma smiled and nodded. The front door closed. The car pulled away. The house became still. At first, nothing changed. Michael went to work. Emma went to her part-time job and came home in the evenings. They ate dinner together and talked about simple things: the weather, the news, a neighbor's dog. But Emma noticed small details that did not fit. Michael stayed up later than usual. He used to fall asleep on the couch by 10. Now the lights stayed on past midnight. His phone never left his hand. When a message arrived, he smiled in a way Emma had not seen in years. It was not a proud smile or a family smile. It was soft and private. Emma told herself she was imagining it. She had just gone through a broken engagement. Her trust was weak. Her mind was tired. She did not want to see problems where none existed. One night, she came downstairs to get water and heard her father talking quietly on the back porch. His voice was low and careful. He laughed gently, the kind of laugh people use when they want to be kind, when they want to impress. Emma froze in the hallway, holding her glass, listening without meaning to. "I miss you too," Michael said. Emma stepped back before he could see her. Her heart beat fast. She went upstairs and did not sleep. The next day, a woman called the house. Emma answered. The voice on the other end paused when Emma spoke. "Oh," the woman said. "Is Michael there?" Emma handed the phone to her father. He looked surprised, then calm. He walked into another room and closed the door. Emma sat at the table, staring at nothing. When he came back, she asked who it was. "A client," he said quickly. The answer felt thin. Emma did not argue. She did not know how. As the days passed, the calls continued. Michael started leaving the house more often in the evenings. Instead, he was meeting friends or working late. Emma noticed he dressed better when he went out. He wore cologne again, cared about his hair. Emma felt like a stranger in her own home. One afternoon, she came home early. Her shift had been canceled. As she turned into the driveway, she saw a car she did not recognize. It was clean and modern, parked too close to the garage, as if it belonged there. Her first thought was that Laura had come home early. Her second thought was that something was wrong. Emma stood still for a moment, keys in her hand. The house looked the same from the outside. White walls, blue door, flower pots Laura loved. Everything looked safe. The front door was unlocked. Inside, the air smelled different. Sweet, floral, not her mother's perfume. Emma's stomach tightened. She did not call out. She walked slowly, her steps quiet on the floor, from upstairs. She heard voices. Her father's voice was gentle, warm, full of attention. He spoke the way he used to speak to Laura when Emma was a child. When she pretended not to listen from the hallway, Emma did not hear everything. She did not need to. She turned around and walked back outside. Her hands were shaking so badly she dropped her keys. She picked them up and sat in her car, breathing hard. Trying not to cry, she drove away without knowing where she was going. The truth followed her anyway. That night, Michael acted normal. He asked about her day. He cooked dinner. He joked. Emma watched him with new eyes. She saw how easy it was for him to lie, how smooth his voice sounded, how little effort it took. Emma felt sick. Her phone buzzed. A message from Laura. Miss you already. Everything okay? Emma stared at the screen for a long time. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She wanted to tell her mother everything. She wanted to protect her from pain at the same time. Oh, it felt impossible, she wrote back. All good. Love you. The lie tasted bitter. That night, Emma lay in bed and thought about her childhood. Family dinners, holidays, the stories her parents told about meeting in college, about choosing each other. She wondered how long the truth had been broken without her knowing. The next morning, Michael tried to talk to her. He asked if she was okay. He said she seemed distant. His voice was careful, as if he knew she knew something. I'm fine, Emma said. But she was not. Emma avoided being home as much as she could. She stayed out late. She visited friends. She walked alone for hours. Everywhere she went, the same question followed her. What do you do when the person who raised you becomes the person who disappoints you the most? One evening, Michael finally spoke honestly, though not fully. Your mother doesn't need to know everything, he said quietly, standing in the kitchen. She's happy right now. Emma looked at him. For the first time, she saw fear behind his eyes. She deserves the truth, Emma said. Michael said nothing. That silence told her more than words ever could. Emma realized, then, that this was not just her parents' story. It was hers, too. It was shaping how she saw love, loyalty, and trust. It was forcing her to grow faster than she wanted. When Laura called that night, Emma answered. Her mother talked about Seattle, about the conference, about missing home. Emma listened, her heart heavy. I'll see you soon, Laura said. Yes, Emma replied. Soon after the call ended, Emma sat alone in the dark living room. The house felt smaller now. The walls felt thinner. She knew that when her mother returned, nothing would be the same, and she knew that part. One of her life, the part where she believed love was simple, was already over. Emma stayed quiet for 2 days. She avoided phone calls from her mother, avoided conversations with her father, avoided looking in the mirror too closely. Every time she saw Michael, she felt a mixture of anger and disbelief. How could someone she loved and trusted betray another person, betray the family, betray the very life they had built together? She wanted to scream, to cry, to demand answers, but she didn't. Instead, she bottled it up. Her voice bright but tired, Emma almost told her everything. She almost let the words tumble out, but she stopped. She couldn't. Not yet. She couldn't risk her mother's heart breaking before she was ready to face what would come next. Laura talked about her time in Seattle, about the conferences she attended, the nurses she met, the awards she had earned. She spoke with pride, but Emma could only hear the distance in her own voice as she responded with short answers. Careful not to reveal too much. Michael watched her standing in the doorway, eyes heavy but quiet. He didn't speak, but his presence filled the room with a tension Emma had never felt before. That night, Michael approached her. He stood silently at the edge of the kitchen, hands in his pockets, trying to appear casual. Emma, we need to talk, he said finally, voice low. I never wanted you to find out like this. I never meant for you to be part of this. Isn't about you? Emma's chest tightened. It wasn't just about her. It was about everything she had believed about her family, about love, about trust. It is about me, she said softly. It's about my life too. You've changed everything. Michael sighed, looking down at the floor. I know. I can't undo what I've done, but I can try to fix things. I'm trying to. His voice trailed off, and for a moment Emma saw a man she didn't recognize. The man who had seemed so solid, so dependable, so certain, was now uncertain and human. Vulnerable in a way that was unsettling. Emma realized then that her father's actions weren't just a betrayal to her mother. They were a betrayal to her as well, to the trust and stability she had taken for granted. She saw the life she had known differently now, her childhood. Family dinners, quiet holidays, everything that had seemed normal now carried a shadow. It was as if a thin veil had been lifted, revealing that the world she had believed in was more fragile than she had imagined. When Laura returned, Emma felt a mix of relief and dread. Her mother's suitcase was lighter this time, her eyes tired but sparkling with excitement. She hugged her daughter tightly, and Emma hugged back, feeling the weight of the unspoken secret pressing down. The house felt alive again, but alive in a fragile, careful way. Laura noticed the tension immediately. "Emma, is everything okay?" she asked, her voice soft but probing. Emma felt tears prick at the edges of her eyes, but she held them back. "Everything's fine," she replied, her voice steady even as her heart raced. Michael was quieter than usual, his movements measured, careful not to betray the truth. The truth came out slowly, not in a confrontation, not in screams, but in quiet moments, a misplaced text, a careful question. A look exchanged between father and daughter that carried too much meaning. Finally, at the kitchen table, the silence broke. Michael confessed. No excuses, no lies, just the bare truth. Laura listened, her face calm at first, then slowly shifting through hurt, disbelief, and sorrow. She didn't shout, she didn't cry immediately, just listened, taking in every word. Emma watched her mother and father as they navigated the storm. She saw her mother's strength, quiet but powerful, like a rock in the middle of turbulent water. She saw her father's guilt, raw and open, impossible to hide. She realized then that infidelity did not stay between two people. It spread, touching everyone who loved them. And in that moment, Emma understood that she had to make a choice. She could stay in the middle of the pain, letting it define her, or she could take control of her life and move forward, stronger than before. Laura decided to take some time away, not to punish, not out of anger, but to reflect, to heal, to think about what she wanted for herself and for her family. Emma watched her mother leave, a mix of admiration and sadness swirling inside her. She felt the weight of responsibility she hadn't anticipated. The way adult problems often fall on shoulders too young or too inexperienced to carry them. Easily. Emma moved out shortly after. She needed space, needed distance from the home that had suddenly become unfamiliar. She needed to breathe, to think, to rebuild her own understanding of love and trust. Living alone, she reflected on the lessons she had learned in the hardest way possible. She understood that love could be fragile, that people could fail, but also that people could be forgiven. In time, if they truly tried to change, she realized that her father's actions, while painful, did not define her own capacity for love. She could still believe in honesty, still dream of loyalty, still hope for a love that was true. Months passed. Communication with her parents became steady, but cautious. Emma learned to navigate the balance between care and distance, learning to protect herself while remaining compassionate. She spoke to her mother often, hearing Laura's perspective, understanding her pain, and admiring her resilience. She saw her father sometimes, noticing his attempts to rebuild trust. Seeing him as a flawed human being rather than a hero or a villain, Emma began to understand the subtle ways love works, how it can be imperfect, how it can hurt, but also how it can teach strength. She realized that heartbreak doesn't always destroy. Sometimes it shapes, molds, and prepares you for the love you deserve. She met friends, dated cautiously, explored new experiences, and allowed herself to feel hope again. She knew she could never forget what had happened, but she also knew she could move past it. She could carry the lessons without letting the pain consume her. Sometimes, when she thought about her father, she felt sadness more than anger. She mourned the trust that had been broken, the innocence that had been lost. But she also felt compassion, a complicated understanding that adults are flawed, that people make mistakes, and that forgiveness is a choice rather than an obligation. When she thought about her mother, she felt admiration and warmth. Laura had endured heartbreak with dignity and strength, teaching Emma that resilience was not about hiding pain, but facing it with courage. Emma realized that her mother's choices, her grace, and her patience had given her the blueprint for her own life. That love is worth protecting, that honesty matters, that self-respect is non-negotiable. Through it all, Emma learned the power of perspective. She learned that infidelity, while painful, can reveal deeper truths about relationships, trust, and personal strength. She learned that heartbreak could be a teacher, shaping her understanding of herself and the world around her. She understood that love, even when betrayed, is never meaningless. It is a lesson, a mirror. It's a chance to grow. Emma's life gradually returned to a sense of normalcy, though nothing was ever the same. She found peace in her own home, joy in her own choices, and clarity in her own heart. She had discovered that while some truths hurt, they also taught the most valuable lessons about trust, about love, about resilience, and about knowing what you deserve. By the time she looked back, she realized that what her father had done, while her mother was away, had changed her forever. But it had not destroyed her. It had not taken away her ability to love, her hope, or her strength. It had reshaped her understanding of relationships, making her wiser, stronger, and more careful. With her heart, Emma knew she could never erase the past, but she could shape the future. She could choose the kind of love she wanted, the kind of honesty she demanded, the kind of life she deserved. And in that knowledge, she found freedom, clarity, and a quiet, resilient kind of hope. She had learned the hardest lesson of all. Some truths hurt deeply, but they also teach us how deeply we deserve to be loved. The house might never feel the same, and her family might never be whole in the way it once was. But Emma had emerged from the storm stronger than she had been. She carried the memory of pain, yes, but also the knowledge that love, trust, and integrity are never wasted. And in that, she found a sense of peace that would carry her forward into a future she would write with her own hands.